Hey, welcome back to the Unbiased Room. I'm happy to be here. We got some things we got to discuss, man. Um, for one, I want to get into this bowl mania and the ACC struggling right now with, I think they had 13 teams make a bowl game. Yeah, they had 13 teams make a bowl game, which is good, right, for their conference. But
Right.
so far, they're 1-9 in these games, man. What is going on?
I, I'm trying not to go there, right? Because I don't want to talk about the SEC and all that, but they just don't. It's not a good. They don't look like a good conference right now. Uh, I know I know you can throw out a lot of this stuff, man, because the opt outs and transfers and all that other stuff. But still, man, to go 1-9 is terrible, right? Not a major conference doing that. I could see if it was the AAC or the Pac-12 or the Pac-2, and they the only ones that got a worse record than them, and they 0-1. So it's bad, and, and I don't think it gets any better. I know they still got Ole Miss and Duke.
Yeah,
Is one game, and you think Lane is not going to run the score up? Like,
he's going to put 52 on their head. Yeah, it's
I
going to
just don't
be,
see. Yeah,
and I mean, it's like you said, you got the Ole Miss and Duke. You also got Louisville versus Washington. You still got Minnesota versus Virginia Tech. Who Minnesota they usually show up in games like this. So
yeah.
uh,
And I think Louisville will beat Washington. They
yeah,
could beat Washington.
they, but you never know.
Yeah,
The
that's the
way these
thing.
games have been going down, you
Yeah,
never know.
yeah. And I try to stay away from all the Twitter discourse, but I was laughing because they was like, and this was the conference that got two teams into the college football playoff with SMU and Clemson, who both
Mm-hmm.
lost,
We both
right?
lost.
So I don't know, man, but the ACC's not looking good right now. And then you got to
Wow,
figure too, Florida State was down this year, and Florida State was 2-10 in this conference. Like,
absolutely horrible. That lone win came from Syracuse,
yep,
who mopped the floor with Washington State.
yeah,
Who I think they're gonna I think if the quarterback
Kyle McCord,
If Kyle McCord comes back, him and Fran Brown are able to run that thing back. I think they're gonna be good, man. Be able to
right?
compete for the conference championship next year.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're going to be good next year. One stat I did see, man, is that Kyle McCord number because I think he broke the ACC record for passing yards. But they said that he
In a
didn't
single
face.
season, right?
Yeah, in a single
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
But they were saying he didn't face a defense ranked under 100 in passing yards. It was something to that nature.
Hmm.
So, I want to see him, continue to grow. I think it's crazy right now. The way he's playing right now, he would have been major for Ohio State. I know Will Howard's doing okay too, but I still think he would have been a beast this year at Ohio State.
I think so too, man. I'm not sure what went
Yeah.
down there. If maybe he was asking to be the guaranteed starter, and he didn't want to compete. I'm not sure, but they gave Fran Brown a gift, man,
Yeah.
because he's had a hell of a year. So
Yeah.
he's had a hell of a year. Well, enough about the ACC and their lack of
Well, hold on.
competitiveness.
Before we go. Miami, they didn't fare
Uh,
well yesterday.
no,
Georgia Tech, they came back against Vandy, but they struggled pretty much the whole game. I was really
they
shocked
did.
that Vanderbilt was putting it on them like that. Um, but yeah, it just didn't look good for the ACC, man, especially in Miami. I
Man,
just to see a Big 12 team whoop them up like that wasn't good.
and I watched the game, man, from beginning to end, and in that first, I want to say in the first 7 possessions, there was 7 straight scores, which is,
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy, crazy. Zero defense being played. Miami defense is the worst I'm watching that. It was extremely difficult to watch.
It was.
Miami is so bad on defense. So bad on defense. And I'm giving Iowa State the benefit of the doubt because, you know, Cam Ward is a magician. So he's moving around in the pocket, man, throwing on a run. He gets that. They get a pass for that. But for Miami's defense, who's supposed to be one of the premier college football programs, right? When you think of good college football programs, that's a historic thing right there, right? University of Miami, the U. They look horrible, man.
Yeah, and we're going to see it with Alabama here, Ole Miss, South Carolina. They still got to play their games. But Miami, a lot of people were saying that they felt Miami should have been in the college football playoff.
Not from what I've seen.
Yeah, it was bad, and Cam
They was
Ward.
right where they were supposed to be.
I agree. And Cam Ward played the first half. He kept them in the game. If Cam Ward had not played, they would have got ran out of the Pop-Tart Bowl yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. If he didn't play that game, because you could see the drop off from Cam Ward to Emory Williams in the second half.
Yeah.
You know your quarterback is not good when you run the ball 30 straight times or whatever it was. It was not. Oh man, it was not good.
Yeah. And the last thing, I just Mario Cristobal, he gonna have to do some serious soul searching this weekend, right? Well, not this weekend, this year. You're gonna have to do some serious soul searching because now the next thing is, does he keep the defensive coordinator? Does he find a quarterback at the transfer portal? Like he got a lot of questions, man. I think this will be his 4th year coming up.
Yeah.
He got to do some soul searching this summer.
Yeah, this ain't like before, man, where a coach would get 4 to 5 years to turn it around. But with the portal and the way that you can plug and play, I need results ASAP.
Right.
I need results ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be curious to see too, man. The portal opens up for them yesterday, so they got 5 days. So see if any players leave. That was, any big time players leave. So
yeah. ACC. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah. Terrible. Yeah.
So I want to talk about the playoffs, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the portal real quick a little bit.
Okay.
Man, A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss have been cleaning up in the portal. I'm see they have an advantage, right? They're not playing in the playoffs. They're able to maneuver that way, you know what I'm saying, and focus all their attention towards that. But it's also not what I'll call it, right? A&M has lost a lot of players, right? But they've brought in mostly offensive players. They haven't really brought in a bunch of defensive players, which I think they're going to end up losing, especially to the draft, right? I know they got 3 guys on the defensive line that have declared for the draft. So I wonder how they're going to build that from within, from the younger guys that was already on the roster. I'm curious to see how that looks. And then with LSU, Brian Kelly, he put all his chips on the table because he knows if he doesn't get it done this year, it's a wrap for him. Mike Elko, good. That was year 1. He did lose some games that he probably should have won, right? But they're not going to hold him against him this year 1. He good. But with Brian Kelly.
Yeah. So Elko, I do think Elko did a lot of good things there. He actually had them play up to their potential. Yeah. However, losing to USC the other night didn't bode well for them. And when I went to sleep, Texas A&M was up. I was shocked when I woke up and seen that they lost that game, that USC
Same.
rallied back and won. So he has done some good things with Texas A&M, so he does get that grace. Brian Kelly doesn't get it. And now he has Garrett Nussmeier returning for another year, so he's going to be experienced. He's got to win, and the SEC is still going to be tough, next year. So I don't know how far LSU can go. They do still have the highest paid assistant coach in college right now, Blake Baker, the defensive
Defensive
coordinator.
coordinator.
Maybe he may turn some things around on that defensive side of the ball, but I just don't see LSU. I don't see Brian Kelly keeping his job right now, man. They lost a lot of players in the portal too.
They did.
I know they got a lot of players, but they lost a lot of players too, and they lost a lot of backups, quarterbacks too. But I know they did get the guy from Mississippi State. So
Yeah. If he doesn't win, if they don't make the playoffs,
yeah,
I think Brian Kelly's out of there, man.
mm-hmm.
But I've always said, I didn't think he was a good fit for LSU in the first place. So I wasn't a fan of the hire. But, we'll see. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. So what do you think about Lane down in Ole Miss? He's doing a wash and repeat of what he did last year in the portal, right? And it didn't work out.
Yep.
Again, he took some losses that he shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Where does he go from here? Is his job safe? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, Lane Kiffin's job is safe. However, I think if he has another season like he had this year, because his administration or their community, however you want to phrase it, they all bought in to Lane.
Yeah.
He had one of the top rosters in college football. I know Jackson Dart cost them that Florida game, but they did beat Georgia, right?
Yeah.
So I think Lane has it. He has time. He's gonna do well. I mean, I think they're gonna make the playoffs next year. I think Austin Williams should be his quarterback next year. I don't think they got any quarterback in the portal. So
yeah, I think his quarterback is gonna be good.
Yeah, but there's no excuses for him.
They're losing a lot on the defensive line.
Yeah, I seen that.
Prince and Nolan, they're going to the draft.
Yeah, I seen Nolan was going to the draft.
Yep. So he's in a tough spot, man, because you got to think, man, all these teams are good. So those home games, because he lost at home to Kentucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's going to Kentucky. Now he's going to Georgia.
Yeah.
Now he's going to LSU.
Yep.
It doesn't get easier.
It doesn't.
It doesn't get easier.
I'm sure he's going to get a lot of. They're going to get a lot of hype coming into next year, but Lane has always been inconsistent as a coach.
Yeah.
Like I said, he always has good offenses, and now he's finally getting the good defenses. And then the offense didn't show up against Kentucky that time. So, I'm hoping Lane just puts it all together, man. And I've said it before. I was a Lane Kiffin advocate. I wish he had came to Bama.
Yeah.
When Saban had retired. So.
Yeah, they did him no favors. His offense did him no favors by not being able to convert when they needed to, and his defense couldn't get a stop when it mattered the most. And when a game was on line and it mattered the most, neither side of the ball could do what they needed to do. And that's championship DNA right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you got it or you don't. And they ain't have it this year. But you got to remember last year. Well, coming into this season, they had a lot of hype. Ole Miss, they had the best portal class. They should be a college football playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
We heard all this. and then they fell short of expectations.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said before, man, that's where like I said, Bama had nobody to blame but themselves for not making the playoffs. Ole Miss was another one because, like I said, Ole Miss did have some good wins. They did beat South Carolina, and they thumped South Carolina.
Yeah.
But then they lost to LSU, right? On the road. They did go in and beat Georgia, but then they lose to Florida, right? So they have nobody to blame but themselves. And I think this is something this lane just got to get turned around.
Oh, Lane Kiffin. We shall see. We shall see. All right, let's talk about the playoffs.
All right.
So we really didn't get a chance to discuss
First
previous
rounds.
games, the first round, right? So
Yeah.
we just recap that real quick. Obviously, you already talked about SMU losing the ACC team. The score really didn't tell the story of the game.
Nope.
Penn State owned them. Um, and really, it was a defensive effort, right? Penn State really didn't do nothing offensively to hurt SMU. It was Kevin Jennings,
Mm-hmm.
2 pick sixes to start off the game. I mean, you can't have that and expect to win a game on the road in an environment like that, right? He
Yep.
did it versus Clemson and was able to bounce back in the ACC championship game. But when you're on the road and an environment like that at State College, it's I mean, good luck, man.
Yeah.
It was cold
Yeah.
as hell.
Yeah. And you're right. I want to say they said during the game, like the most people that SMU had played in front of before that game was like 60,000, right? And then, like I said, now it's 100,000. I think like 103,000.
103,000, yeah.
Yeah, 103,000 people, right? And then, that was Ken. He's still a freshman, so, he get out there, he made 2 bad plays, man. And
Yeah.
he's that guy that if he's doing well, they're doing well. But
Yeah.
he's off, because he
No
was there.
good.
Yeah, he was the only way that they could win that game. It had to be all on him, and he
Yep.
just didn't fare well.
Didn't make the plays when they needed to.
No.
Didn't make the plays when he needed to.
No.
Another playoff game. Notre Dame. Well, Indiana at Notre Dame. That game was in
Yes.
South Bend.
Yeah. So again, Indiana. The moment was too big for them. I feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cut the score down in the the last quarter.
In garbage
But
time.
yeah, but throughout the game, they was completely outmatched.
Yeah. And
And
I
I
felt
know.
like it was like that for all of these games. Like even though some of
Right.
these scores may look a little close, even
Mm-hmm.
those double digits, it didn't tell the story of the game. These teams were getting manhandled.
Right. And I know this is a conversation for another day, but that's why they really got to look at the seeding for these playoff games. It would have
Yeah.
been better matched if it was like, just say, Indiana versus Boise State or
Yeah.
SMU versus Arizona State, right?
Yeah.
Those games would probably be more fairly matched than, like I said, them playing really the blue blood teams
Yeah.
starting off from the rip. So,
Yeah. Clemson playing at Texas.
yeah.
And I mean, really, that game was Clemson could not run the ball. And Texas made them one dimensional. And then they couldn't stop the run. If you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run, it's going to be a long game.
Right.
Again, the score really doesn't tell the story. I mean, Texas ran for almost 300 yards. Clemson could not stop outside zone to save their life. They just kept running over and over and over again, and they couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Texas did give up some passing yards in the second half. Obviously, they changed their defense because you're up by 20. You're up by 3 scores. So they played a little soft cloud, and they was able to make some passes. Which now I'm saying the coverage was good, right?
Right.
Cade Cupnick just made some great throws and receivers, which he's fortunate, right? If he ends up coming back, Clemson's going to be good next year on the offensive side of the ball because they got some young, talented receivers that are playmakers. So
Yeah, I think Clemson is going to be good next year. And now Dabo's got his first receiver and a lineman out of the portal,
yeah,
right? So I think now he's going to be, put more competitive teams out, on the field.
yeah,
He's competitive in the ACC now, but I'm talking about to be able to compete with the
bigger
big boys.
picture.
Yeah, the bigger boys. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's going to help him out a lot. That he's actually willing to do that now.
yeah. And then Tennessee,
Yeah,
goodness gracious. I mean,
yeah,
again, garbage time points. They
yeah,
early on, right? It looked bad. It was 21-0, but there was a moment, actually twice, where Tennessee got within striking distance, right? He decided to go for it twice. I think once on 4th and 2 and another time 4th and 1. If the first time he would have just taken the points, he would have felt better about going for it on that, that 4th and 1 and picking up. The confidence would have been there for him to pick that up. But you already
yeah,
shot your confidence when you went for it on 4th and 2 and didn't get it, and you come back down again and go for it on 4th and 1 because you're thinking about that could have been a 10-14 game or ten
yeah,
to 21 game at that time. So
yeah,
it really, man, that really just it kills the momentum, and you're already on the road, right? And you need that.
yeah,
Yeah, Tennessee went up to the horseshoe and got their ass whooped, man.
yeah. So two
No two
things for
ways
me.
about it.
Yeah, two things for me. Ohio State did look like possibly the best team in the playoff. Just again on that weekend, they look
Eye
like
test.
possibly, yeah, they look like one of the best teams in the country. And then two, I said it, Nico had to play well, and he didn't. He only threw for 104 yards. Dylan Sampson didn't have a part in this game. I know,
That's another thing that hurt them.
right?
He tried to go
Yeah,
on that first series and couldn't go. I think he had one run or something like that.
yeah. I want to say just two
Two.
altogether.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it wasn't a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
He played the
So
first series and that was it.
yeah, he had 2 carries for 6 yards.
Yeah.
And I just think you know, that's what those were the two keys to the game, man. I just
Yeah.
think that Nico had to play well for them to win, and he didn't.
And as much as I hate to do this, man, because I'm not a Will Howard fan, but he played a good game.
He
He
did.
managed the game well. He was throwing some dots because people want to kill Tennessee and their defense. Their defense didn't play terrible. They played good coverage. Will Howard was just making some great throws.
Right.
Good
Right.
defense, better offense.
Yeah. But I know we said it before. Man, Ohio State has a plethora of like
Yeah,
players, man. I mean, they got NFL receivers. They got two of the best running backs in the country. And all Will Howard has to do is just be a point guard, be able to get the ball to the playmakers. And he was doing that, right?
yeah.
Something that he failed to do against Michigan and some of these other teams.
Mm. Well, we didn't got through that. So Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
7:30 Eastern on ESPN, Penn State, Boise State, in the State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Fiesta
Yeah.
Bowl. Who you got?
I
Penn
got,
State
I
is
got,
favored by 11 right now, by the way.
yeah, I think Penn State wins this one easily. I like their defense, man. I think they have a good defense. The offense is what bothers me, right? Drew Allard. And, he has to show up in this game, and I think he will. I think once they get to that next round and they have a tougher opponent is when you will start to see that separation, right? at quarterback. But I think for this game here, I think he's going to do enough to have them win this game against Boise State.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they win, and I think they cover.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody likes to point to the Boise State and Oregon game,
Yep.
because Boise State played Oregon close, but in my opinion, Oregon doesn't have the D line and the linebackers that Penn State have. I don't. Yeah, I got Penn State easy
Yeah.
winning this one.
Yeah, easily. I mean, it's just I don't think Ashton Genty is going to have as big a game as he had against Oregon either.
Yeah.
I think he's going to he's going to probably still hit 100 yards, but it's going to be a tough 100 yards. It's going to probably be feeding him 25 to 30 times, and he's averaging like 3 to 4 yards to carry type thing. He ain't be averaging 6 or 7 yards a pop. I just don't see that.
Oh yeah, no, because I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. If you're Penn State's defensive coordinator, I'm gonna put 7 in the box, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you one dimensional.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make the quarterback beat me. I'm not gonna let Ashton Genty go run wild on me.
Right.
Put that game in the quarterback's hands and see what he can do.
Yeah.
Even though he did go crazy, I think in the what game was that?
So the bowl game, not the bowl game, but the championship game.
Yeah, the quarterback, he had a good game.
Yeah.
So Wednesday or New Year's Day, first game up is going to be Texas and Arizona in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Texas is currently favored by 13.5.
So Texas will win. Sorry about that. Texas will win the game. Texas got one of the best defenses in the country. I do like that running back, Cam Scatterbo, but I just don't think he's going to be able to find daylight against Texas like that. And then, I like Arizona State's quarterback. I think they're a young and up-and-coming team. I think Kenny Dillingham will do his due diligence and, have them ready to play. But at the end of the day, it's just a talent mismatch. And I think Tennessee's defensive line would just they will make life hard for the
Texas
offensive line. I mean, I'm sorry. Texas's defensive line would make Arizona State's offensive line. They're going to get them nightmares. It's going to be nothing they can do to stop them. So, I got Texas beat at 13.5. I think they're going to win that.
Yeah, I agree. And like you talked about, man, just the talent gap is just, I think it's going to be too much. Like you said, Texas has one of the best defenses in the country. And I think we're one of the best tackling teams in the country. Right? There's difference if you got a good defense where you can't tackle and you're not going to see that in the stat sheet, right? That's eye test stuff. We don't give up too many. I think we're first in the country at giving up explosive plays. So we don't give those up. I don't think that Cam Scatterbo is going to be able to, because they need him to play well, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're missing their top receiver, Tyson. Guess who their second leading receiver is? Cam Scatterbo. So it kind of starts and stops with him. I do like their quarterback, Sam Levitt, the Michigan State transfer.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, they in the games where they played a defense that was in the top 70, I think it was, they struggled like mightily. They struggled with Cincinnati, who they lost to. They struggled with Texas Tech. And in those games, Cam Scatterbo never ran for more than, I want to say 86 yards. On plenty of touches, like 26 touches, 70-something yards, so And like you talked about the line of scrimmage, we just have a huge advantage there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Arizona State doesn't have a defensive lineman over 290 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's, you got your nose tackle at like 270, I think I seen. He's going to get mauled, man. And when he's trying to go up against,
Yeah.
Jake Majors, who's 340, is
Yeah.
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 And
This
I
is
got
it's
Texas
gonna.
big, man, because, another thing,
Mhm.
Arizona State is one of the worst teams in the country in red zone defense. So they're like, I want to say second to last. That's how bad they are. I think they're 133rd in the country.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. Yeah, like I said, I just think they're out of their league in this game, man. Um, like I said, you're gonna end up, hey, playing in the Peach Bowl. Great season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Big 12 champs.
Enjoy
Hey,
Atlanta, man. Just come enjoy
yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah, but it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. The 5 o'clock game on ESPN, the rematch
Yeah.
in the Rose Bowl,
Yep.
Ohio
Yep.
State and Oregon. Ohio State is favored right now by
Mm-hmm.
1.5. 1.5, maybe it moved. Last time I seen
Yeah,
it was like more.
I seen one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Um, who do you got in this rematch?
Yeah, I got Ohio State. One thing for me, man, I think they won last time. Oregon won last time they were at home. This time it's neutral field. Neutral site. I meant they're in a neutral site, and then kind of going back to what I said earlier, man, Ohio State looked like one of the best teams in the country the other night. Uh, I guess for me, it all comes down to Dylan Gabriel. He's a vet, man. I want to say this is his 6th or 7th year in college football. Um,
I think they said something about like his 60th start.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, he's a vet, and I guess it just all depends. This game to me is going to come down to the quarterbacks. Which quarterback is having the most success against the other's defense?
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that Will Howard, he learned a valuable lesson that last game when he you know fell on the ball where he tried to run the ball.
Oh yeah, try to slide to try to yeah.
Right. I think this time, I think they're going to make good plays. I don't think
And
he's
I
going to
blame
make
some
many
of that on
mistakes.
Ryan Day too for not utilizing his
Yes.
timeouts.
And I
Bad
think the
clock
team,
management.
I think the team rallied around Ryan Day, man. They heard all the noise
Yeah.
around him, possibly getting fired and all this other stuff. I just think Ohio State is going to put it on Oregon. And Oregon, only time they really been tested this season was Ohio State.
Yeah.
And it's hard to beat a team twice. So I got Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I got Ohio State as well. And I think, like you said, when you play your best football and it's late in the season, I mean, you playing, that's the right time. That's when you want to be playing your
Right.
best football at the end of the year.
Right.
And they're doing that. And, it's hard to pick against Dylan Gabriel. And just because of how much experience he has, he's not careless with the football. Um, I mean, he's a threat to throw it and run it. So
Right.
let me backtrack. I got Ohio State as long as they can play mistake-free football. Will Howard cannot have a bad game.
Yeah,
If
he
Will
can.
Howard has a bad game, it's a wrap for them because they've been
Yeah.
struggling running the ball against anybody that they played.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They popped some big ones versus Tennessee, which is kind of uncharacteristic of Tennessee's defense. But
Yeah, it was.
I
Yeah.
digress.
Yep.
They have been struggling to run the ball because of all those injuries up on the offensive line for Ohio State. But I think if they can find some balance, right, and Will Howard takes care of the ball, I do think they win the game.
Yeah. Like I said, I think they rally around Ryan Day, and I think they come out and play ball. And I think they beat Oregon by a touchdown or more this game.
I
Yeah,
got Ohio State by 3.
by 3. Okay.
Yeah, Ohio State by 3. Just because, man, I got to give Dylan Gabriel his respect, man. Yeah, he played good in the first game. The first matchup,
He
he played
did.
good.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna count him out. They won the game, so we'll see. 8:45 p.m. in the Superdome in New Orleans. You got Notre Dame, and Georgia, All-State Sugar Bowl. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with Georgia, but I gotta see Georgia with Gunnar Stockton, right? I gotta see how they fare with him at quarterback. Notre Dame looks pretty good. Um, they're gonna be hungry, but I still think when you look across the board, man, Georgia is one of the deepest teams in the country, right? I think they're gonna be able to get pressure on Leonard. Um, but I'm gonna go with Georgia. This is a tough one. I say if Carson Beck was playing, I would go Georgia all day. But now I feel like without him playing, it's like they're even now, and right now I take Kirby, man. I think Kirby, he is right now the best coach in college football, and I think he's gonna have the boys ready, man, for Notre Dame.
I struggle with this pick, man.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, and I give Georgia all the credit in the world because what Kirby has been able to do there, right? It's tough. The fact that you brought up Gunnar Stockton, right? The only action he's really seen was in the Texas game, right?
Yeah.
Which he threw an interception
Mm-hmm.
and he fumbled, got fumble sack, strip sack, or whatever. The ball
Mm-hmm.
ended up going out of bounds, though. The difference between Texas and Notre Dame's defense, Notre Dame blitzes a lot, right? Texas, we kind of just line up and play football. We don't, there's not a lot of disguises up front. We're not, simulating pressures, and we just line up and play. Notre Dame does that a lot, right? So how much is that going to play into, without that experience, those it's different to rep it out in practice, right? This is real deal game scenario stuff. So I'm curious to see what Mike Bobo does from the offensive side of the ball. Like, is he going to call this game to use Gunnar Stockton's leg because he's athletic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he going to call a conservative game for him not to put the ball in harm's way? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's tough. Is Kirby going to coach his game not to lose, or is he going to coach it to win? Is he going to try to get up early or save it for the fourth quarter? It's really, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I know that Notre Dame's defense is good.
Mm-hmm.
Riley Leonard is a threat with his legs. The
Yep.
defense is good, but they're also fast, right? Those DBs fly around for Notre Dame's
Yeah.
defense. Um, yeah, Riley Leonard has been better throwing the ball the last 6 games, last half of the season, and he's a threat. He's a weapon with his legs, and they have some quick receivers. Excuse me, up in Notre Dame, man. I cannot remember that kid's name, but in the game versus Indiana, this dude was catching slants and like just Faison, I think his name is. Is it Faison?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that dude quick as
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah, like I said, I like the DBs, man. I like old Xavier Watts. I like
He's good.
Jordan Clark. I think it all comes out to kind of pretty much like what you said. Are you playing to win? Or are you
Yeah,
playing to just, because I know if it was me, I'd probably play conservative and hoping I could win, hoping that Gunnar Stockton doesn't make any mistakes. Um, and that's why I say it comes back to, if they had Carson Beck, it'd be a no-brainer. But with
yeah,
Gunnar, and this is really his first, like I said, he played a half of Texas. And then I want to say they said before that, he played in like 3 blowouts, but he didn't throw a pass or something of that nature.
yeah. He only
So
attempted like 12 passes in those games.
yeah, so
Yeah, he
this
was
is
like,
really,
yeah, he was like 5 for 12 in those games, and really, really
yeah,
no experience.
but he was a 5-star. So,
He was a 5 star.
I mean, he got to know how to do something, right? So, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is that Georgia has struggled with mobile quarterbacks
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
all season. So I'm pretty sure Marcus Freeman has that in his mind. Using that RPO game with Riley Leonard
Jeremiah.
and
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love, and their backup running back too was nice. Oh man, what's that kid's name?
Yeah. I just remember Love.
Yeah, they got 2 great backs. So we'll see. We'll see. The last thing I want to touch on, and when it comes to these games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you have rather your team had a bye, like the 1 through 4 got, or have them played, right? Because there's always that conversation of
Mm-hmm.
rest versus rest, right?
Right.
Did these guys get too much rest? Oh, we got 20 days or 22 days to get healthy. In my opinion, I think that's a little too long, right? Because you're not going 100% hitting each other at, you know what I'm saying, at practice. You trying to get healthy. You don't have, and I think it's too long. I was happy with the 5 seed, being a Texas fan. As much as I wanted to win the the SEC championship, I also didn't want 20 days off for my team to get
Yeah.
complacent. You know what I mean? I feel like that's too long of a period of time to be sitting and waiting on to play a game.
It is. And, those are the 2 teams I'm worried about, is Oregon and Georgia. I don't think it's going to affect Boise State and Arizona State. But, for Ohio State, I mean, Ohio State, like, again, looked really well last weekend.
Yep.
They got to keep that momentum up. Whereas Oregon was sitting at home and they got to try to muster all that, right? Yeah, they're going to be a little bit more healthier, a little bit, maybe run a little bit more faster,
Yeah.
but it's still, they didn't have that experience. And then also
Yeah.
in a playoff game, right? And then same for Georgia. I think they really needed that game. I think they needed to play to see how to how to move with Gunnar Stockton. Now with them
Yeah.
coming into a game that they need to win, they they got to go in, and I think that it's going to hurt them having that bye. But maybe get it time to put some packages in. Maybe get it time to work some kinks out with him, at practice and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But I definitely think it hurts Oregon. And Saban, I know I was looking at game day. Oh no, not game day. It was the college football playoff selection show. And Saban was curious as well. He was asking them how are these teams going to handle the buys, right? Because this is the first time for everybody. He was asking them like, what were their schedules looking like as far as the teams that had the buys? I know he asked Oregon, and I
Yeah.
think he asked Sarkeesian as well. Even though I know they didn't have a buy, but he did
Yeah.
ask Oregon like, "Hey, what does your schedule look like?" So
Yeah, that's a tough situation to be in, man, because like you said, if they install these packages, right, or they game plan and it doesn't work, what's next? He hasn't repped anything else. You know what I'm saying? At least with Carson Beck, if you see something, okay, You got A, B, C, D, E, and he's experienced in A, B, C, D, E in game. With
Right.
Gunner, you throw out A, B, C, D, E, and A, B, C, D, E ain't working. What do you go to?
Yeah, you have to lean on the running backs.
Yeah, I mean they got healthy, but I mean we'll see, man. I'm going with Georgia, but like I said, slightly, barely.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not confident in that pick. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, me either. Me either.
I'm not confident in that pick. Any parting shots, man?
Yeah, so hold on. So just say, we do get these teams. So if Texas wins and Ohio State wins, so or Texas and Oregon, I mean that was going to be a good matchup in the Cotton Bowl, and then Penn State and Notre Dame, or Penn State and Georgia again. Man, I think the college football playoff is what we needed. I just think, like I said, they got to do a little bit more tweaking and peeking to make
Yeah,
sure, to rough out some of them edges. But man, I mean, who can't get excited for that? That's what football's supposed to be about, deciding
yeah,
on the field.
yeah. And I think when when this period is up, 2026, when they
Mm-hmm.
decide to go to, I'm pretty sure they're going to go to 16 teams, right? We need to adopt the FCS playoff model, right? There are no buys. It's 1 through 16. 16 plays one, and so on and so forth, all the way down the line, right? Football matters. This buy and not having teams play, just everybody to play. Nobody should get a buy. Top
Yeah,
teams host, and just go with it like
right.
that.
Yeah, so I read they supposed to be discussing a lot of that at the final. Like all the commissioners and the president supposed to be there,
Yeah,
and then that's where they supposed to kind of discuss like what is the way moving forward for this college football playoff.
yeah.
So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting.